I give away free Steam games with every major video I do, and here's who won this week. The games available to receive are listed below. To enter, just leave a comment and have contact information on your profile. And now, on with the video. I'm playing something almost every week, and sometimes I want to talk about it and give you a vertical slice. So stick with me for some lightning reviews. This week, on the chopping block. This week I've been playing FlatOut Ultimate Carnage. I wasn't certain I'd have a game to discuss this week due to work obligations. That being said, for some peeking behind the scenes for anyone that wants to do their own thing, YouTube heavily incentivizes a weekly upload schedule, and I often find myself caught in a dilemma of whether or not I want to play something for content versus playing something because I want to. I was thinking of playing Limbo for the sake of a review because it's relatively quick, I have a few things to say about it, and it would help me maintain the schedule, but at the same time I wouldn't be as passionate about it compared to if I was playing something because I chose to do so in my spare time. That being said, FlatOut Ultimate Carnage has been my primary personal choice when I'm winding down in bed with my Steam Deck, so here we are. FlatOut Ultimate Carnage is the 5th game by Bugbear Interactive by my recollection, and the 3rd game in the FlatOut franchise. Scrutinizing it heavily, you can see it as FlatOut 2.5 because it basically took the foundations such as physics, graphical style, and overall presentation of FlatOut 2, increased the visual fidelity, and expanded the number of AI opponents that could be present in a race. In fact, in my opinion, the only area where Ultimate Carnage was inferior was the soundtrack because 2 had Yellow Card. There's actually a substantive list of improvements and features that this game implements using FlatOut 2 as a springboard, but let's dive into the meat and potatoes of Ultimate Carnage on its own for now. Starting out, the UI is simple and well designed. On a fresh playthrough, you'll begin races in the Derby mode, the slowest class of car with all the vehicles looking like beaters or rusty redneck daily drivers. Of a side note, if you want to get a challenge, do as I did and go for the real habanero achievement, which requires you to beat all Derby Cups with an unupgraded chili vehicle. It'll give you a real taste and appreciation for unlocks and better vehicles when you can get them later in the game. I also appreciate FlatOut's Derby Cup because it serves as something of a tutorial without actually wasting time with a tutorial. The difficulty is relatively low starting out, and at the speeds that you start moving at, you're given a chance to become acquainted with the physics of the game and how your car will behave in it. Of course, the cars aren't the only thing affected by the in-game physics engine. Debris, obstacles, and other fixtures on the racetracks are entirely indestructible and factor in an interesting dynamic. In order to gain nitro for your vehicle to save your ass when things get hairy, you can either damage your opponent's vehicles, you can ramp off jumps with your bar filling up during airtime, or you can take out destructible items. The only problem with that being, depending on the weight of the item you're hitting, it may mess up your car's racing line, or if you're on a race with multiple laps, present a hazard for the next time around that you set up for yourself. This is arguably one of the most engaging things from race to race because you may become familiar with the tracks relatively quickly, but even if you have an ideal racing line in your head, there's no guarantee that the wreckage from the track will allow you to take it. Even your own car may behave with a degree of foreseeable chaos, incentivizing certain driving styles or discretions when it comes to approaching track features, which says nothing of your opponents. Amongst the many things that I hold dear in the FlatOut series, one can be illustrated with a minor moment from the review of the original FlatOut that I did years ago. The AI is not dictated by your own pace. If you f*** up and one of the other racers with a better vehicle gets out in front of the pack, you may never see them again unless they screw up by hitting the debris or taking a turn wrong. It also becomes particularly absorbing through a subtle tactic of naming, giving faces, color coding, and assigning consistent vehicles to each AI opponent. Jason Walker, Jack Benton, and Lee Bing became active rivals and pains in my side with every cup I participated in, and given that their vehicles were easily recognizable, I could discern when I had an opportunity to slam into a wall at maximum speed, and let me tell you, the degree of satisfaction you experience when you can successfully wreck one of the computers that's been giving you grief is difficult to replicate anywhere else. Interestingly though, most of the things that I've given some degree of praise to, from the dynamic destruction of the environment to the behavior of your vehicle, can also become a source of frustration. I've lost count of the number of times when I've been dashing in a mad sprint towards the finish line, only for a small piece of wreckage to knock against my undercarriage as I drove over it, causing my car to careen into a direction that I wasn't anticipating. Of course, even when this does spell doom for a particular run, it's not the kind of frustration that causes me to put down the game and walk away. Instead, I grit my teeth, swear under my breath, grip the controls a little tighter, and dive in with the mentality of, screw you, I'm not letting you beat me. Now, the racing and demolition derby modes in and of themselves would be enough to keep me coming back, but FlatOut has always had a bit of a sense of humor about itself, manifesting with bonus minigame modes where you utilize the driver being ejected through the windshield as a projectile in order to do things such as go bowling, play poker, skip stones, or compete in Olympic events such as the high jump. There's also a medley of amusing hidden vehicles such as school buses, vintage roadsters, or the Flatmobile. In my opinion, Ultimate Carnage serves as the pinnacle of the FlatOut series, which I think only builds to the legacy of Bugbear, considering it's the the last FlatOut game that they developed, even though there have been at least 2 more that I'm aware of. In fact, not to spoil my intentions, but I am in the planning phase for a bigger video for the history and legacy of Bugbear's gameography. Given that FlatOut Ultimate Carnage is verified on Steam Deck, and with the last Steam sale you could get it for around $5, I would recommend this to most anyone who's looking to scratch that quality arcade racing itch. Now, if you'll excuse me, my town is going to be experiencing an eclipse tomorrow, and there's a lot of people collectively losing their shit. Hey, look at that, it's the end of the video. Don't forget to subscribe, and remember that commenting can actually win you a free prize. So until next time, this is Gheeotine saying thanks for watching and keep your head on your shoulders.